Welcome to Reuters Events Pharma USA 2026. With me today, I have Elizabeth Sloan, who's Vice President of Sales at Skipta. Elizabeth, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Jonathan.
It's great to have you here.
Call me Liz.
I'll call you Liz. Liz, but Liz it is. Skipta, now let's just talk about that. It's a network of online medical communities for verified healthcare professionals. But are HCP communities relevant in this digital era? And what do you and your team do when it comes to supporting pharma brands in the market?
Yes, thank you for asking that question. Skipta has spent over a decade building HCP-only communities, and still today they are very much relevant. We find that they maybe are even more sought after than ever in today's digital era because of the influx of information. We find that what providers continue to trust the most is their peers, and that provides them with a safe space to consult, to collaborate. And on the flip side, there's obviously a significant opportunity there for our life science partners to offer up the resources and messaging that they have in a way that it's not only relevant and contextual, but it's also credible.
Given the shift, monumental shift really, that the industry has seen about how providers are finding and consuming clinical information, how do HCP-only communities fit within a broader HCP engagement strategy?
Yes, so much information overload, and the HCPs have it the worst, I think. In my opinion, they're just being bombarded with information, and they now have such a broad wealth of information at their fingertips. With the click of a button, they can deep research some very sophisticated clinical information. And so, our role is really to cut out the noise and to try to break through to them in a way that is relevant to their day-to-day. We want them to be able to share their experiences and kind of break through that clutter, that noise, so to speak. Those tools we have available to us, they're so powerful and they're really valuable. But what does it mean when we can consult with a peer one-on-one? And what does that mean for the rapport that we're bringing to that clinician, the trust that they have in what we're saying to them? And, it provides a lot of opportunity to break through all of that digital noise, the information overload, in a way that builds the rapport with the HCP and builds the trust.
Absolutely. Now, omnichannel. Many pharma companies are pouring money into this area, but execution can often fall short. I mean, where do you think the gaps are in between strategy and reality in omnichannel today? And what are the things that, the winners, what are they going to have in common? I mean, those who succeed at it.
Yeah, we're fortunate at Skipta. We are only focused on HCPs, right? So we have a focused lens of the omni-channel infrastructure, and that helps us to really specialize in that. I think to answer your question, where we're seeing a lot of our partners struggle, right, with their omni-channel strategy is integrating the data. The data is so fragmented. It can be dependent on other sets of data. So syndicating all of that data across all of their various suppliers is an area where they continue to struggle. And we try to help them with that through the power of our backing from Norstella and all of the integrated health data that we have available to us. We try to fill in those gaps for them so that they can get a holistic view of the HCP's engagement across a period of time. But we're also we're doing that extremely quickly, right? We're using some cutting edge tech to do it really fast because we find that, what sets success apart from not is speed in many cases. And it's not always how personal or perfect the message is, but if you're capturing them at the right time.
Now, you mentioned Norstella there. You're part of the Norstella group of companies, and I understand intelligence plays a really important part of your offering. So can you just tell us a little bit about what that means for your partners?
Yes, absolutely. So obviously at Skipta, we have some proprietary engagement data on what our members are doing within the platform. Behind us with the Norstella group of companies, MMIT, Evaluate, the Dedham group, they all specialize in really critical life stages of the pharma life cycle. So they have market access, payer information, an integrated health data set that includes labs and unstructured clinical notes. And the power of that is really, it's really to be told, right, what we can do with all of that. But where we're focusing on is helping our partners identify the right targets, but even go a step further to actually predict, who their patients may be so that we can be proactive about educating those physicians, um, maybe even before that patient walks in the door.
Liz Sloan at Skipta, thank you so much for your insights today. We've learned a lot.
Thank you so much for having
Thank
me.
you.